Good afternoon from the Walt Snyder Stadium on the campus of Council Rock North. It is the Phila Girls Field Hockey Game of the Week featuring Council Rock South versus William Tennent. Matt Gillis up in the broadcast booth on the Sports Fan Base Network, live with Kathleen Simone from Phila Girls Field Hockey. Week 3 of the 2018 Phila Girls Field Hockey Game of the Week season. And it is an interesting matchup today. We saw two teams last week who hadn't seen each other in a while, and here we go again with Council Rock South and Tennent, who haven't seen each other in a while. And this is due to that whole conference shakeup that's been going on with the Suburban One National.
Absolutely. I think it will make for a fantastic game, especially since there is this element of unknown. Two teams that are kind of in the middle of the pack. Council Rock South landing dead in the middle of the SOL National Conference with a record of 1-3, and Tennent falling at 6 out of 7 places, but we're still expecting a highly competitive game.
Tennent coming in with a few interesting players, most notably their seniors, leading it with Victoria Paust and Julia Caston.
Yes, and we're talking about South, or you just said Tennent. I'm sorry. For South, looks like South has got 6 returners to the lineup, where Tennent returning 4 from last year's squad on the starting lineup. Most notable absences from the CR South roster this year are 2 players, Tori Wright, who's now playing at LaSalle University, a first-team All-State pick, and a Phila Field Hockey Senior All-Star, as well as Michaela Van Allen. Needless to say, Council Rock South is packed with talent. So despite their absences, there's a lot of players ready to step up.
And Council Rock South, of course, has a brick wall between the pipes in Aspen Handel, who is headed off to college at LIU Post. At Juniata. Bianca Bonini, her teammates, headed to LIU Post. But what a season so far she's been having.
Absolutely. Aspen last year ranked in the top 10 for Phila Field Hockey goalkeepers in terms of percentages. Numerous times she made the top 10 chart throughout the season. So definitely a veteran goalkeeper back there will bring strength to CR South. And in the goal cage for Tennent, I believe we have a junior goalkeeper, Sophia Trozzi.
We'll run down the starting lineups for you. First, for that visiting William Tennent Panthers, it is Carly Adkins on defense, along with Samantha McDonald. Carly Pritchett and Victoria Paust heading up that forward midfield switch line, along with Ava Doran, Jenna Cragen, and Alicia Hofferman in the mid. Julia Caston is also on defense. Kristen Scott rounds out the front of the forward line. Vanessa Yanas on defense, and the aforementioned Sophia Trozzi in net. For Council Rock South, Brianna Shields and Lauren Mitchell are the forward midfield switch players. Sarah Byer, Bianca Bonini on defense. Rachel Roll in the midfield. Fiona McGinley on defense. Caitlin Coco, another forward midfield switch player, along with Ashley Lackman on defense. Bridget Doherty, is the midfielder. Carrie Kaufman at forward, and the aforementioned Aspen Handel in net. For those who are unfamiliar to high school field hockey, it is 2 30-minute halves. So once we get the teams to the field, they have had their captains' meetings with the officials at center field. We will be under a 30-minute clock and under cloudy skies, but no rain in the forecast, which will be a favored sight for both of these teams. It has been a quite rainy few weeks to start off this 2018 season.
I noticed that Tennent is sporting their pink ribbons. My guess is that it is for breast cancer awareness. Many of the teams throughout the Philadelphia area will be hosting games this season in celebration of some of their key players on their team who had families that were impacted by breast cancer, as well as fundraising games. Phila Field Hockey will actually be posting some information about how you can contribute to make a difference, as well as some photos from our local teams' benefit games.
I know my high school alma mater, Strathaven, down in Delaware County, has a dual game where their field hockey team is playing before the girls soccer team, and they're doing a Haven Goes Pink night. And both of those, they'll be doing a lot of fundraising related around that. So it is certainly something as the calendar starts to turn from the end of September into the month of October that a lot of teams and high schools around the region will be looking at. Tennent in the black and white trim with white numbers. Council Rock South in the blue kilts, white jerseys with blue numbers. As the whistle sounds from the officials and South breaks from their huddle, and we are about to get underway. South overtop the ball at midfield, and the first hit goes long and wide, putting it out of bounds, and immediately a turnover to Tennent, and a very interesting idea and start to the game. Council Rock South seeming to feel they will lend their fares better on defense. Tennent with the inbound. Hit right away and trapped down immediately by South, and that's Kerry Kaufman. But a turnover brings it back, so auspicious starts for both teams as they're trying to kind of find their way out on this synthetic turf surface with a lot of rubber on it. All of the black dotting that you see is rubber on the field, and that's going to create an interesting playing surface situation for the day. An obstruction, and it's going to go right back into South, and Caitlin Coco gets the start. Coco trying to get upside into the circle, has it with space to her teammate, and it looked like Rihanna Shields was up front, and she was unable to put it into the cage. Sending the ball back to Tennent, and they'll get the free start. Tennent to the outside touchline, tapped by Alicia Hofferman. Hofferman in a battle with Coco on the side, and it will go Coco's way.
I remember seeing Coco in action last year when CR South was part of the Game of the Week against Neshaminy, and her ball handling skills and speed up the sideline impressed me then. It looks like she's going to roll again.
A little fast pace to the game as Bridget Doherty trying to get movement inside the circle. She's unable to do so, turns it back over to Tennent. And a push to the outside touchline is no avail. Fiona McGinley will have the insert for Council Rock South. Turned over right around about midfield, and it's Carly Pritchett, her first touch of the game, as she tries to move it forward right at the top of the circle. Related to the soccer field, there are 5 lines on this field. And the field hockey lines, which are the red ones, are quite faded, so it's going to be very interesting to call lines today.
I agree. I'm not sure how the umpires can even see the circle lines. It's pretty faded.
The dashes, which are about 25 meters out, are almost invisible from our broadcast position. We are high up top of Walt Snyder Stadium.
This is the 3rd Phila Field Hockey Game of the Week, voted by fans online at philafieldhockey.com, as well as on our Twitter and Facebook page at PhilaFH. The last week's vote garnered about 1,600 votes, and definitely these two teams were pretty far ahead of the pack and very enthusiastic to be live streamed.
Tennent on a fast run here. It is Kristen Scott with some speed to the outside line, chased by Ashley Lackman, but she is unable to get the turnover, and it is going to still be a Tennent ball, and they will have the free hit from about the 25-yard line on the football field. Rachel Roll getting started. Sorry, check that. It's Victoria Poust. And a quick turnover. Sent straight back, tapped away by a Tennent stick. and controlled by Kristen Scott. And an interesting whistle there. Paust with a switch hit, trying to go opposite direction, runs it right out of bounds.
For Council Rock South, this is Lisa Bell's, the head coach's 9th season at the helm. And for Tennent, Kelsey Hittebittle, it is her 2nd season.
South trying to switch to the outside, and a hit down the outside touchline. Did not have a trailing forward, so it is a Tennent ball. Headed back up in a battle with Ava Duran there, turns it still on Tennent's stick. Definitely a lot of speed out of these first two. We are about 5 minutes in now in the first 2 possessions-ish for both of these teams. We've seen a lot of speed on the line.
Absolutely, and that seems to be a hallmark of Council Rock South. Definitely some speedy forwards that she puts up front.
Outside battle taking place now. Passed back as CR South trying to find a way to get inside the circle. Sweeping hit sends it back out, and then turnover to Tennent.
A lot of black shirts in the circle at that point. The forwards were back inside the circle, packing in, making it definitely difficult for South to penetrate.
Carly Adkins was the player to finally create the turnover for them, as now Tennent tries to do the same thing, switching field and coming near side to their bench. Samantha McDonald trying to get possession. She is unable to do so. This will be the defender Ashley Lackman with the insert. Heads it midfield to Carrie Kaufman. Kaufman trying to look downside. She finds Caitlin Coco. Coco tries to get inside the circle. Does find a forward inside. And it is Rihanna Shields trying to put it home again. Unable to do so on a corner call.
Some nice offensive movement demonstrated there by Council Rock South, resulting in a corner.
So first corner of the game for Council Rock South, and they'll send Carrie Kaufman out for the insert. 3 players up top. We'll see who the sweep goes to. It's going to come up top and inserted again for a corner. Second call, and that was Caitlin Coco would be switching. We have seen her do that quite often in this game so far, where she's gone to the opposite side of her stick direction, trying to change the direction of the ball on her hits. This comes across, gets bumped over to Coco. Coco tries to make the shot inside, unable to do so, still bouncing around, kicked out by Sophia Trazi, and picked up on the line by Hofferman. Hofferman to Pritchett. Pritchett trying to go through the midfield now. She is taken off the ball by Bonini. First time we've called Bernardo Bonini's name today. Bonini now with a run bumped off of the ball. She'll get a free start again.
William Tennant really is packing in their defense, moving all their forwards back on defense as well. I'm wondering when that ball does flush out, who will be there to even get it with such so many players back in the defensive end. But I think against a strong attack, that seems to be their strategy.
4 white jerseys in the middle of 11 black jerseys as Council Rock South is trying to penetrate that stalwart defense and get inside the circle. They have had a couple of shots from Rihanna Shields today, and here's a ball right in front that sits up, and Shields unable to convert again, but this time it will go the way of William Tennant. Free hit position for Tennant now. And interestingly, they drag back and try to reset themselves. seeing if they could spread Council Rock South, and it seemed to have turned against them. Ball pops all the way out, back to the defense, will be picked up by Sarah Byer. Byer immediately met by 3 black jerseys.
Despite Council Rock South's offensive push, I kind of think they're going to have a little bit quicker breakaway and set their attack in motion quicker before the defense settles in.
We have seen 3 strong shots so far from Rihanna Shields. All 3 of them have come up the middle. One shot, which did come in on the outside from Caitlin Coco, was kicked away by Sophia Trazi, so they have tried to go to her left and they have tried to go up the middle. Maybe they're going to need to switch it around and go to the right. Tennent has the ball on the free start. A long sweep up that is immediately met by Council Rock South and turned back over. Pritchett now trying to get possession on the outside line. She is unable to do so, as South is now swarming themselves in the midfield. Outside of Council Rock, South's few possessions inside of the circle. This game has been pretty much played with inside of 40 so far. Shade over 10 minutes into the first half. Tennent on the insert again. This is intercepted by Caitlin Coco. She tries to make a run up the middle and met with force.
Such a welcome breeze after all that humidity. It feels fantastic. I'm sure the girls are loving it.
It is quite a different weather forecast than it has been yesterday and the past few weeks within the Philadelphia area. They are calling for sunny and 81 tomorrow, so it looks like we're going to get one last throw of summer. Quick turnover, and this is headed to Bridget Doherty. Doherty trying to get possession. She is unable to do so, and a stick check sends Fiona McGinley chasing. Ball bouncing around the middle. This is pushed out by Shields. And Shields is fouled, so that will give a free hit to Council Rock South as the forwards have a chance to move up. A long hit goes through the stick of Kaufman, but it is picked up by Caitlin Coco, and Coco has a run with speed. 2 defenders to beat. She is met and hit immediately by one, and we're going to get the corner call.
Coco doing a fantastic job getting the offense rolling and forcing corners.
A sort of delayed obstruction call as Caitlin Coco ran into 2 Tennent defenders and puts the corner, and Carrie Kaufman goes for the insert. 3 up top again. Coco to the left side. Shields to the right. Goes to Caitlin Coco. Coco sweeping hit inside. Kicked away by Trazi. Rebounded right back. Sent back in by Lauren Mitchell. Kicked away again by Sophia Trazi.
Trazi with, I think that's probably her 4th save so far today. And some really nice fundamental goalkeeping skills shown there.
We talked about how good Aspen Handel is on the opposite side for Council Rock South. She has yet to see a shot in this game, but Sophia Trazi is coming up big and trying to keep Bengals on the board for the Tennent Panthers. Insert here from Ashley Lackman. Coco again, a sweeping hit. This one goes away. And Trazi lets it go as a whistle had sounded prior to. And Caitlin Coco getting an explanation from the ref as to her transgression on that last play. Tennent trying to change position again, going to the outside touchline. Working in favor for them. And they will continue up. This is Kristen Scott with the ball in midfield, immediately met by Kaufman.
Kaufman is the only freshman starting for Council Rock South today, and Tennent has one freshman in the starting lineup.
Kristen Scott. Always great to see new faces to the game. Of course, not new to the game of field hockey, but new to the high school game in their first seasons. A lot of midfield play here in the first half. Again, as it heads to Rihanna Shields. Shields trying to get that center insert. Unable to do so. Ball punches back out. Council Rock has the insert on the outside line. And here comes Tennent with the attempted run, but that is immediately intercepted. Ball bouncing back around through the midfield, picked up by Lauren Mitchell. Mitchell to Caitlin Coco. Coco trying to go to the inside. She's unable to get possession, and it heads out of bounds. It seems to be as though the projection for Council Rock South's offense is to run through Caitlin Coco.
Council Rock South's midfield, I think, has done a nice job transitioning the ball to the forward line as well as breaking down Tennant's attempts on pushing that ball up to their offensive line.
Tennent with possession around about midfield. And a miss hit completely by Hoffman. Sends the ball on Caitlin Coco's stick in the other direction, and she's immediately met by 3 Tennent jerseys. Tennent trying a long hit back, trying to stretch the Council Rock defense, and Lauren Mitchell gets the pickup and sends to the outside. Mitchell with the insert.
Fans listening today, you should know that not only is the Phila Field Hockey Game of the Week live streamed, but there will also be a feature article for this game, as well as a Facebook photo album. So we have a lot of different perks for the teams that show their enthusiasm and get the votes in. The next Game of the Week poll will post tomorrow, and there are a couple games in there that are hot. Next week's poll will feature some teams that are ranked nationally and that have very successful records in their leagues.
The 5th corner of the game coming up for Council Rock South. Again with Kerry Kaufman on the outside for the insert. Goes up top, this time to Benini. Benini across to Coco, back to Benini. Trying to get to the middle for Coco, and it's going to be inserted again on the second corner. Kerry Kaufman back to the spot. 3 players up top, Benini, Coco, and Shields. This time goes to Benini again. Off to Coco. Coco goes straight inside on the shot, and it flies away, sending the ball back to Tennent.
Tennent's defense is doing a fine job because Council Rock South has had numerous attempts, and they are just not finding a hole to goal.
They are, however, finding corners, and it is sent again that way in Council Rock South. We'll send Kaufman back to the spot one more time. Trying to find that first goal of the game. Miss hit. It has to get picked up by Mitchell. Mitchell sends it back to Coco. Caitlin Coco inside, stick tapped by Lauren Mitchell and blocked away by Trozzi. 11 minutes left to go here in the first half. 0 still on the board in what has been a defensive game between William Tennent and Council Rock South on the Phila Field Hockey Game of the Week, and another corner called.
That was a great series, an impressive series of stick-to-stick passes by Council Rock South. And impressed with the team's poise to play under pressure with all of those black defenders stuffed in there, making it very difficult.
Kaufman switching it up, going to the opposite side the other time. This time she goes short. Coco tries to get a hit inside, and it goes wide as Bridget Doherty was driving forward, trying to get the deflection. And it has been called in favor of Council Rock South. So a last-minute tip may have come from a Tennent defender's stick, and it is given a free hit to South. Inserted inside, kicked away by Trozzi again.
Tennent's defense definitely showing their experience. Two of the backfielders, Julia Caston and Carly Atkins, are returning starters, and they really have been very effective in the backfield.
Caitlin Coco straight intercept. Trozzi pops one right away. And looks a little gimpy, though she might have twinged something when she kicked that ball out.
Aside from that one run in the beginning of the game, Matt, has Tennent had the possession inside their 25 or even inside their 40?
I'm not sure, outside of the free hit that they had down here at the 40-yard line of the football field. That's about as far as we've seen Tennent go offensively today, as we are 8 minutes and change left remaining in the first half, and Council Rock South coming up on their 6th corner, just alone here in the first half. Kaufman trying to go to back to the other side of the field again. So Kaufman, and a high stick, sending it up on the insert hit from Caitlin Coco. Tennent trying to get a run on the outside. Unable to do so. They had Carly Pritchett driving with it on the outside touchline, and it is now in a battle between Samantha McDonald and Caitlin Coco, and Coco is going to lose that battle. It's going to head back, and this is going to be the first long hit that's going to come all the way down the field and head out of bounds while they were trying to get a run from KC4. KC4, another freshman on the Tennent roster, her first action in the game today. We also saw Ava Harin check in for Council Rock South in the forward position. Here's Caitlin Coco trying to make a run. She has one defender missing. She has a second defender missing, and Coco is opening space. Sweeping away, unable to get it. Into the circle is Caitlin Coco, but it does tap off of a Tennent defender's foot on its way out of bounds, and Council Rock South will have the free start. A definite rule difference in field hockey versus a lot of other sports, especially per se soccer. If it goes behind the end line, it's a corner kick. In field hockey, it comes all the way out about 25 yards from the goal and starts there.
In a way, I feel like it's still an advantage in that the ball's centered on goal, and at least you're not taking a long corner, as they used to call it, way with the ball so far to the side of the goal cage.
So a few differences and nuances in all of the games around. As Council Rock South has continued to dominate the offensive possession here in the first half, but Tennent blocking and containing everything back, has been unable to allow Council Rock South to convert on it. And so we are coming up on 5.5 to go in this game shortly, and still with zeros on the board.
You have to think that at this point, Council Rock South is frustrated. They've maintained possession. They've had numerous shots, not necessarily on goal, but going toward the goal shots, and several on the goalie's pads. 6 corners, but just not able to convert into a goal. At the same time, Tennent, they got to feel pretty good about their defense, but a little frustrated that they're not able to make anything happen on the offensive side of things.
As that gets mentioned, another shot goes into the cage area of Sophia Trazi, and she aptly kicks it right away, allowing for Tennent's defense to try to clear the zone and gain some semblance of an offensive possession. Lauren Mitchell for Council Rock picking the ball up there in the midfield, trying to get it to the outside line. She's unable to connect with anybody, and it sends back over to Tennent. And this is about the furthest we've seen Tennent offensively all day.
I think in the beginning of the game, they did have the ball down inside like their 10-yard line.
A one hit from Samantha McDonald runs all the way outside the line. And we will see where the position comes. It will be a Tennent-free hit. And that'll come from Carly Adkins up top, about 30 yards from goal. Adkins runs into 3 white jerseys, and Caitlin Coco has it again with a run, 3 to beat. Coco on the outside. She has no help, unfortunately. She'll have to go completely on her own. Has it straight down to Tracy, inside, and a goal!
Outstanding.
Caitlin Coco, a one-woman run from about midfield, straight down, beats 4 to 5 Tennent defenders, puts it in, and the first goal of the game comes with 3.5 left in the first half. And a timeout called by Tennent.
Council Rock South's got to be feeling pretty good right now that they finally put the ball in the net, and that was a beautiful run by Coco. As you said, I think she got by even by 5 or 6 defenders. Attack is a little flat in terms of positioning on the field because they're all packed back in there again on defense, and then when that ball pops out, there's really no one to support the ball ahead. But it looks like Coco didn't need that support this time. Very impressive, and I'm having a feeling that Coach Piddle right now is just saying, come on, let's just try to get some offensive action rolling for these last 3.5 minutes.
So one finally on the board for the home team, Council Rock South, after what has been a pretty defensive-minded first half.
Be sure tonight to check on philafieldhockey.com for scores from all 110 high school games, 100 high school teams rather. Certainly not all 100-plus teams will be playing today, but all games will be reported with scores, highlights, and stats. Also reported daily are 20 teams that compete on the collegiate level in the Philadelphia area. That's 6 Division I programs, 1 Division II team, and 13 Division III teams. I always love to see what teams do after a timeout. It's actually one of the things that it just gets me excited to see what changes were made, how the teams respond to the coach's direction, if they can execute. And with only 3.5 minutes left, let's see what happens.
It's interesting from a position of William Tennent. Now you're back. You're maybe potentially changing your offensive scheme, figuring out how you break the Council Rock line. for Council Rock. You've now just put one on the board, and you've figured out how to break William Tennant's line. So it's very interesting to see what both coaches have to say on the outside. Council Rock seems to be wanting to do ball control right now as Bianca Bonanini is kind of running all over the field and playing a little bit of keep-away game as this is sent back to Ashley Lackman. Lackman goes to Caitlin Coco, who put the goal on the board, and Coco's going to have another run. Met immediately by a swarm of Tennant defense. That's Julia Caston, who gets the stop, and ball control goes out, but Bonini sets it right back for Council Rock South.
Bonini has been key to Council Rock's 1-0 position at the time of this game. She has really been an anchor in the midfield, transitioning the ball and keeping the ball out of her attacking end, or her defending end, rather.
Lauren Mitchell obstructed on her run upside the touchline, so it creates a restart. Lackman goes inside to Bonini. Bonini will switch field now, right at midfield, and a long hit down the line as she was trying to connect with Rihanna Shields. Unable to do so, goes out of bounds, and Carly Adkins will have the insert for Tennant. Adkins tries to drive up the line. Goes through two of her teammates, heads back, and Bonini at midfield again, immediately turned away. And now in a battle with Pritchett. Carly Pritchett trying to gain line for Tennant. She does over a falling Council Rock South player. Pritchett has a run, and it is tipped away immediately by two defensive players. That's Sarah Byer charging back on defense. Tennant trying to gain some semblance of an offensive run, picked up by Bonini and turned over. Run right away, and the stick knocked out of the hands of Rihanna Shields on that defensive play. A lifted insert from Lackman drops down and controlled by Tennant. That's Casey Ford. Ford tries to tap back. Picked up by Victoria Paust. Paust with a run here up in the midfield. 1 minute left to go in this first half.
Definitely seeing a little more offensive punch from Tennant since the timeout.
So definitely something said by Coach Hiddebiddle in the huddle that has pushed them forward. As 26 seconds and change tick down on the clock. The first half of today's Phila Field Hockey Game of the Week, presented by Payroll Service Solutions, live on the Sports Fan Base Network. And we will wait for the horn to sound, but we are going to send it to halftime with Council Rock leading Tennant 1-0 on the lone goal by Caitlin Coco. 30 minutes in the books, 30 to go. Kathleen, what did you see out of this first half?
A lot of defense. A lot of defense from both teams. Council Rock's South's defense really being very strong in the midfield, stopping Tennant's attack from entering their offensive end. And Tennant displaying really strong defense inside their circle. I'm sure they'd love to keep the ball a little bit further from the circle, but once it was in there, they were able to hold off 6 corners and numerous shot attempts. Anxious to see at the half if a little more attack is sparked from either team and what they bring as far as a change in game plan.
This live video stream of the Phila Field Hockey Game of the Week is brought to you by Payroll Service Solutions. Based right outside of Philadelphia, Payroll Service Solutions is a huge supporter of high school sports and the Sports Fan Base Network. If you are a small to medium-sized business in need of a payroll and benefits company, contact Payroll Service Solutions. Not only will they take care of you, they will continue to support the community. For more information, contact Payroll Service Solutions at 215-624-0922 or 866-PAY-EASY. This live video stream of the Phila Field Hockey Game of the Week is brought to you by Payroll Service Solutions, based right outside of Philadelphia. Payroll Service Solutions is a huge supporter of high school sports and the Sports Fan-Based Network. If you are a small to medium-sized business in need of a payroll and benefits company, contact Payroll Service Solutions. Not only will they take care of you, they will continue to support the community. For more information, contact Payroll Service Solutions at 215-624-0922 or 866-PAY-EASY live on the Sports Fan-Based Network. Matt Jolis up in the broadcast booth with Kathleen Simone. An interesting first half of this game of the week between William Tennent and Council Rock South, and we finally, at 3:38 left in the first half, got a goal on the board from junior forward midfielder Caitlin Coco.
The halftime couldn't get here quick enough for me, or the second half. I wanted that halftime to be 2 minutes because I'm ready to see what these teams can bring, and I'm ready for a little bit more offense. Love my defenders, don't get me wrong, but let's see some goals. Both teams definitely capable, and it'll be interesting to see if any changes are made. My thought is that CR South is going to try to get the ball rolling on attack quicker before the defense has a chance to set up, and my guess is that we might see some bigger balls from Tennent to try to open up the field a little bit.
Tennent did have a run with inside of the last minute of the half, trying to get one on frame, but it actually never even got through to Aspen Handle. It was blocked away by Sarah Byer, and Tennent with the start here in the second stanza, 30 minutes on the board, and a bouncing ball kicks off of Carly Adkins, turned over to Council Rock South, and immediately trying to push one through, and that's tapped away by Vanessa Yanas. And a shot inside the circle, bouncing away, will turn to a free hit for Council Rock South.
Some quicker action from Council Rock South on that first play. Trying to get that ball inside the goal, inside the circle, before the defense collapses.
Pass back to Bianca Bonini. Bonini controlling the ball mid of the field. Sends it off to Rachel Roll. Roll pushing outside, sends it across to Doherty. Doherty with an insert to the circle, popped up. And a corner, first of the second half, sends Caitlin Kaufman to the dash. Kaufman on the insert. 3 up top. Has been standard for Council Rock South throughout the first. They go up top to Caitlin Coco. Coco trying to get that insert inside the circle, tapped right away at the line off of the leg of Julia Caston, and another corner, second of the second half, and 9th of the game for Council Rock South. Flurry of activity up top. This one from Coco inside, goes off of the pads of Trazi, kicked out. Bounced around by Lauren Mitchell. Mitchell trying to get an insert. It comes back, hits off of her, and will send it Tennant's way. Yana's switching the field completely in wide open space on the outside, and a long hit down the line with no one available. Sends the ball out of bounds, and a turnover back to Council Rock South. Interesting start point to the second half, which has seen Tennant come out with a good head of steam on the faceoff and then immediately flipped back Council Rock South's way, and now it seems as though Tennant is just trying to play dump and chase. Tennant with the ball in midfield, and again a long hit. And I'm sorry for cutting you off, Kathleen, because you were just about to explain what we were talking about.
I was thinking, that's what I kind of predicted, that some bigger balls to open up the attack, and certainly maintaining possession is the most important thing. If you don't have the ball, you can't do anything. But I think in the case of Tennant, they are going to have to try to air out the ball to try to get their forwards some action, because the midfield and defensive lines for Council Rock South have been so strong.
Vanessa Yana is trying to go toe-to-toe with Rihanna Shields. Tennant prevailing so far, but their second hit goes right onto the stick of Rachel Roll. Roll taps back to Benini. Now across the field to Mitchell. Mitchell has a bouncing ball, which gets all caught up in the legs of Kristen Scott, and will send it back Council Rock's way. Mitchell sweeps it, trying to find Kaufman. Can't get to her. And a stick challenge going on between Bridget Doherty and Ava Doran. Goes Doherty's way. Doherty tries to restart. She comes back to Benini. Benini, sweeping hit, gets it inside the circle, right on the stick of Rihanna Shields. But it deflects off of a Tennent defender, sending a free hit to Council Rock South. And Sophia Trozzi was directly behind that, so it might be possible to say she would have saved that.
This is the fourth conference game for Council Rock South. I'm sorry, this is the fourth and the fifth for Tennent. And it's interesting, in the Philadelphia area, some of the leagues have not even started their league play yet. So I'm anxious for a couple of the leagues to get into action. The Friends League opens up later this week. Interac has only seen a few games, so it's mostly some of the schools from the PESA conference, the Pennsylvania Association of Independent Schools, versus the PAAA schools are a little slower in getting their conference play underway. Ooh.
Midfield long hit from Vanessa Yanez, sends it outside, and another long ball eludes Carly Pritchett and sends it back Council Rock's way, and a sweep down the line was Sarah Byer, just trying to get it into space, putting it on the stick of Caitlin Coco. She gets into a battle with Samantha McDonald. Tennant's way, and another long hit. So Tennant trying to chip and chase, but so far unable to break that midfield presence of Council Rock South.
And it's 1-0. It's still anyone's game, despite the fact that Council Rock South has dominated possession time significantly in the first half, and it's anyone's game. You have one breakaway, and it can be a tiebreaker. Or a tied-up game, rather.
Standing on the sidelines, trying to wait her moment to come back into this game, will be Casey Four for William Tennant. Council Rock South has not made a substitution yet in this second half. And with the control of possession they have had, it seems as though head coach Lisa Bells is happy with her 11 on the field at the moment. Ball played in the midfield by Bridget Doherty. Doherty trying to go on the outside to Coco. Unable to get so, and it bounces back out.
I think Tennant's got to feel pretty good about their defense. I mean, they're holding a skilled team who's had numerous attempts on goal, and they've held them to one.
Rachel Roll with the free start. Roundabout midfield sends it to Lauren Mitchell. Mitchell driving up on the outside line now. Trying to find a way to get into the circle. Back to and battled through two black jerseys. But will not be to her avail, and it will head back Tennant's way. A quick hit to the outside line. Looking to send it long was Hopperman. Mishit sends the ball out of bounds. Reinserted, restarted by Council Rock South. Sits right up and in is a goal from Carrie Kaufman.
That was terrific, and that was an opportunity that the team had to kind of move the ball faster, get it on goal faster before Tennant had a chance to set up all 10 people and pack them in the circle. Thought that was well executed.
So Kaufman puts a second one on the board at 21:56 of the second half. 2-0 Council Rock South. Now the strategy might have to change a little bit for Tennent, as they are in a position of having to really chase the game now. Rihanna Shields looking intently at the Tennent forward, trying to get the ball started. That was Victoria Paust, who was only able to get it deflected outside. Carly Adkins getting the restart. Adkins in the midfield. Now Paust again trying to get through that Council Rock South midfield to the defensive line. Unable to do so. Ball bounces out. Rihanna Shields has a chance at it. It is sent right back in by Adkins. And now Tennent will have a chance, as they will get a free start about 30 yards from goal. Long hit sent in by Paust. Kicks off of a few Council Rock feet and sends it off the back line. And I believe the first Tennent corner of the game, coming with 10 minutes into the second half.
I'd like to see some explosiveness from William Tennent. They seem very precision in their passes and in their play, which is great, but I think they need a spark or someone to just put it all out there and jumpstart this attack.
Paust with the insert over, hits her entire offensive line, sends it all the way back into the midfield. Jenna Cragen had a whack at it, but she's unable to convert anything. And so from the second circle, it is turned over to Council Rock South and sent immediately down the line. Caitlin Coco weaving away. Another run from Coco. Trying to find forward help. She dives forward. Unable to control, and going to get a infraction against Council Rock that's going to send it back to Tennent. Pushed on the outside line, trying to keep it in bounds with Mitchell. She was unable to do so. Another sweeping long hit, this time stopped immediately on a stick. That was Lauren Mitchell stopping it for Council Rock South. Here's Bonini in the midfield. Bonini trying to get on the outside. She connects with Doherty. Doherty comes down the line to Shields. Shields trying to turn over. Curling away, touches it back inside to Roll. Rachel Roll is met by two black jerseys and actually causes the infraction, sending it back to Tennent.
Tennent's midfield line gives Council Rock a lot of space. They don't seem to collapse on the ball and try to get the ball back. Rather just kind of directing where that ball and goes and letting the defense pick it up. But I think as the game has progressed, Council Rock South has really noticed that and had plenty of time to play with the ball to get that perfect pass off.
Victoria Paust trying to make a run through the midfield, stopped away by about every Council Rock South jersey. And Kaufman now trying to make a run down the line on the turnover. She is tripped, and it will cause the infraction that will become a restart from Bridget Doherty, putting Council Rock South in offensive territory. Doherty loses the ball in a battle. Bounces it back out to McGinley. McGinley to Bonini. Bonini switching the field into open space to Lauren Mitchell. Mitchell trying to go down that sideline. And a bit of miscommunication between Mitchell and Caitlin Coco, as Coco cut in and Mitchell went out.
Good passing from the Council Rock South team, though, overall.
And we'll see where the restart comes here on the outside line from Tennent. I mean, a lot of stick defense going on, causing multiple whistles. And here's Caitlin Coco with a run, trying to go inside the circle. She's tapped away, maintains possession of the ball, sweeping back left and right.
Coco showing great stick skills and a definite adaptability to force corners. I think she knows when to try to get the ball directed toward goal and when to try to get the corner. And I believe this is Council Rock South, let's see, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, about 11th corner today. None of which they've been able to score on.
Both of their goals coming in open possession, but we're going to see if they switch things up this time. It is actually Coco going on the insert this time. So a little bit difference goes to Bonini up top. Bonini sweeping back inside, sending it to McGinley. McGinley trying to go from the corner. She's unable to get in. Bonini now taps McGinley right along the byline in a battle, and it goes out of bounds. And we will get a free start. So a little different look from Council Rock South that time, sending Coco to the mark.
I thought for sure it was going to come back to her, but it looks as though she was running to post, and they were waiting for a redirect to head toward the goalie, but could not get the shot off.
Rachel Roll trying to get an insert, goes around the backside to Caitlin Coco. She goes inside, and then immediately raising her hand up, knowing the infraction was called. And so for about the 11th time today, Council Rock goes to the spot, and this time Carrie Kaufman goes back to her traditional insert position. Goes right up to Coco. It tips over top of her stick, immediately stopped by McGinley. Inserted inside, sent right on Sophia Trozzi, who was only able to trap it under her body in the melee that ensued. And another corner.
Oh my goodness, I think it's 13 corners. 13, 14 corners. I
think we've lost count officially up in the booth on what the Council Rock corners are for the day. They go outside again to Coco. She's sweeping inside. Inside the circle, hit from Kaufman, tapped right out, and another corner called.
And you know, this many corners for high school play is not that atypical, but I guess since we're talking 14 corners to Tennent's 1, it makes it seem even more unusual.
Check that. This is going to be a free start, and it's going to be Lauren Mitchell with the free start. Trying to gain possession on the outside line. Tapped away by Tennent. And so a restart again on a sideline insert. Mitchell takes it herself and drops back on the play, and Council Rock will try to reset. Mitchell trailing along that line, does have Caitlin Coco and Rachel Roll inside, but she is blocked away by a few Tennent jerseys who tap it out. And we will go again on the insert.
I kind of feel like the game, or the fans are somewhat reflective of the game. They're pretty calm. You don't see a lot of people standing, screaming, yelling, cheering. I think the game itself has just been is evenly paced in such a way. 2 goals, definitely exciting moments, but would love to see some fire from either of these teams. But I have to commend Council Rock South for having such a nice, precise, skilled approach to their scoring.
It has been certainly very balanced today as they head back to the corner again. And Kaufman has sort of dug a hole where her feet stand from being there so many times today. Kaufman goes short. This one sent right in by Coco, tipped away by Sophia Trozzi, kicked out again in the mixer, but onto the stick of Rachel Roll. Roll tries to insert to the corner. She goes to Coco. Rihanna Shields has it.
Trozzi doing a fantastic job back in there in the goal cage.
Yeah, despite it being 2-0 on the board, Trozzi has been standing on her head, as they say, in keeping Tennent as close as possible in this game. Just a shade over 11 minutes left to go as a quick shot comes inside, tipped by Kaufman. And Carrie Kaufman trying to look for her second of the game in what would likely be a nail in the match for Council Rock South. But she is unable to deflect. Line switches abound for Tennent as 3 substitutions coming in. Ava Doran checking back into the game along with Alicia Hofferman. Not too many substitutions from Council Rock South today. Only the one that we've seen was Ava Harin, who checked in during the first half, has checked back out of the game. So pretty much running the 60 minutes with their starting lineup. That is endurance and conditioning abound for Lisa Bell's team.
It sure is, and both coaches in their preseason previews focused on the fact that the teams were working a great deal on conditioning to make sure they could go those long games.
Not much work for Aspen Handel today, though. She's had a bit of a walk in the park, kind of just standing over there about 15 feet outside of her goal, kind of taking in and watching all the action today. One shot on goal for Tennant. It was actually stopped by defensive player Sarah Byer before it actually even got in Handel's way. A sweeping ball from Council Rock South up through the midfield is stopped by Tennant Jenna Cragen. And it's put back onto the stick of Caitlin Coco, who's making a run again, trying to go inside. She has Shields, and Shields cannot convert. Taps back out to Lauren Mitchell. Mitchell comes back inside the circle on Kaufman's stick, kicked away by Trozzi, up around the heads of a few ducking players on both sides. Right back to the outside and on the stick of Mitchell, who converts it into another corner for Council Rock South.
This second half has really been all about Council Rock South, even more so than the first half.
South seemingly trying to put the screws into this game, turning up the intensity and putting Tennant way back on defense. Checking out of the game for Tennant was Leila Doran. Sarah Pagano will check in on the corner hit as Coco has a shot outside. Trozzi is down, and a hit is called, putting that possession in the books for South, and Tennant will have a chance here with 7:45 left to go to try to get something offensively on the board. A mishit to the outside, tapping over the stick of Alexis Jones. So while Tennant has switched the bench, Council Rock South seemingly continuing to go with their starting 11. The Phila Field Hockey Game of the Week, week number 3 of the 2018 season, live on the Sports Fan Base Network, presented by Payroll Service Solutions.
This has been a great partnership with the SFBN. Last year, they helped us by bringing video highlights, but there's nothing better than having a live stream, and the live stream actually stays on the website until the next game of the week comes, so you can check back in and watch the program anytime.
I know I've certainly tuned in a few times myself, and it actually is fun when you get up here and have a chance to do these games to just go back and see them and be able to share the highlights that we see live with those who are field hockey fans around the country that might not even have a chance to be able to see these games when we broadcast them live. As Chazi makes another save, kicking away another Council Rock South possession. And it's also a point of word of mouth marketing and being able to help grow what you do with Phila girls field hockey. What we do. So I keep saying girls, and I'm so used to that.
No worries.
But with Phila field hockey and the Sports Fan Base Network, and trying to grow the game of field hockey and the high school game throughout the Philadelphia area.
Well, thank you, and I appreciate that. And I work hard to make sure that all of our teams are represented. Not only the teams that are at the very top, but certainly programs that are emerging programs it's revamping years. They deserve to be in the spotlight, and so we include all of our teams in our score recaps and also give them a chance to vote for the game of the week.
We have seen Methacton versus Springford to start the season. Abington against Upper Dublin last week. We have Council Rock South and William Tennent taking place right now. So it has been a very interesting set so far. 2, 4, 6 teams featured in the first 3 weeks of the season, and plenty more weeks to go.
We've seen 4 teams in the SOL. Little sneak preview. I'm not going to give anything away, but there will be some Central League matchups and another PAC matchup and a Chessmont matchup, as well as one other game yet to be determined that will go up in the Game of the Week poll tomorrow.
Couple of bench changes coming up here for Tennent. Ava Harin about to check back into the game. She has already seen some action today, and Maya Pagano, the senior defender, is off the bench and about to get a little bit of action as one pops through. Chazi trying to find position here. She is unable to do so, but Council Rock South is also unable to get a correct stick on the ball, sending it back out Tennant's way, and a free hit with 4 minutes left to go.
Tennant's defenders do a terrific job defending the corner. They are outnumbered, and they have proven time and time again, at least 13, 14 times, how effective they are. So I think Coach Hiddlebiddle has to feel pretty good about that.
The quick hit start from Council Rock South unfortunately came with a high stick as well, sending it back for a free start Tennant's way, and it'll be Victoria Paust. Paust taps it, goes right off of the leg of Ava Harin, but bounces forward to a teammate and is sent up by Sarah Pagano. Pagano trying to gain offensive position. She's unable to do so, blocked back. Harin trying to go through the midfield, puts it on the stick of Rachel Roll, and Roll ties up with Carly Pritchett. Pritchett wins that battle, and with 3 minutes left, tries to get Tennant going. Pagano on that outside line. Another whistle going. Infraction caused by Jenna Cragen. And Maya Pagano on the opposite side, Council Rock South, gets it started. Ball inserted again, this time coming from Bridget Doherty. Doherty to Kaufman, one of the 2 goal scorers for Council Rock.
Kaufman, a freshman, has definitely showed some strong play for a first-year player at the high school level.
Kaufman standing on the insurance goal today, coming at 21:56, just a shade of 4 and change in the second half. That put a screw to this game after Caitlin Coco put one in the cage with 3:38 left to go. in the first half, which broke at that time a scoreless tie. And now the aforementioned Caitlin Coco has a run on the outside line. And her speed gets the best of her as she leaves the ball behind her. But having been infracted by a Tennent player, so Coco regains possession, trying to tap to the outside, cannot find space, and sends it back for a free start by Lauren Mitchell. Mitchell will pass off on that free start. And it will go to Ashley Lackman. Lackman goes to Mitchell on the outside. Mitchell trying to get inserted to the circle. Cannot do so. Immediately tapped away, and a free start again for Council Rock. One minute left to go in the game. 2-0 on the board for Council Rock South. And I'm not entirely sure what the sign is that just got dragged in behind the Council Rock bench, but it looks like this is going to be a record-setting win for Coach Lisa Bells. And it is going to be her 100th win as a head coach in her 9th season for Council Rock South.
Oh, that's fantastic. I am thrilled for Coach Bells. I'm sure the girls will have maybe even some food to celebrate this milestone.
They are bringing out now the big gold number balloons, which has become a staple of social media birthdays. So we're going to get this one put into a sports textile as the horn sounds. 2-0 final for Council Rock South. 100 wins for head coach Lisa Bells on a goal from Caitlin Coco in the first half, an insurance goal from Carrie Kaufman in the second half. And they defeat the William Tennent Panthers. So that has been something very interesting as the Phila Field Hockey Game of the Week, which was voted on, turns out to be really needed to be a Game of the Week.
Absolutely. Glad we could be here to witness it and to celebrate Coach Bell's 100th career win at Council Rock South as the head of the program.
And she is in the middle of the melee of her team right now. Lisa Bell's in the blue shirt, the blue t-shirt and gray shorts, and she's going to kind of walk through. Oh, no, she's going to go over and get the flowers and a hug first and get presented with the board and balloons. And now we'll go through the thank yous line.
In a few minutes, we're going to have a few players from Council Rock South join us in the press box here for an interview.
Yeah, we're going to take a quick break on the Sports Fanbase Network, and we'll be right back with the Payroll Service Solutions post-game show with Caitlin Coco and Carrie Kaufman, and we'll try to see if we can get head coach Lisa Bells up here and talk about her 100th win. We'll be right back. Back on the Payroll Services Solutions post-game show with Bridget Doherty. A big win for you guys today, getting one on the Phila Field Hockey Game of the Week and a 2-0 victory over William Tennent.
Yeah, it was a really big game. Everyone stepped up, and it was good to see good competition between the other team.
A lot of defensive possession in the midfield. You had a lot of ball control on the outside line today. How much was that a help to your team, especially getting those 2 goals on the board?
We were really trying to send it to the outside and send it through because the problem of ours was sending it through the center too much, but we're trying to send it to the space, and that's where we're getting all of our offensive momentum.
All right, sounds great. Thanks. We're going to pass it down the line here, passing it off to your teammate, I think we're going to bring in one of the goal scorers on the day, the junior Caitlin Coco, who had a massive run. It seems as though the ball was running slower than you at times today. And that first goal, 3:38 left to go in the first half, and you finally break through Tennent's defense, which seemed to be playing all 11 players back, and you get one on the board. What was going through your mind trying to get that run into the circle?
Yeah, I was just trying to get it down the field, put it in the goal because we really needed that goal for the half.
Well, I know we had an interesting moment in the box because your dad was running the scoreboard today, and he kind of was like, "Yes!" in the moment that you get the goal. So always fun to see. But a big win for you, 2-0 today, puts you up another victory on the board, and a big one for your coach as well.
Yeah.
All right, thanks for being a part of the game today. We're gonna pass it off and. Bringing in a goaltender, Aspen Handel, who you're headed off to Juniata next year, and it seems like you had a walk in the park today.
Yeah, it was one of our easier games today. We did have really good competition, but it was more in the middle of the field, back and forth between the offense and the defense. I got to sit back and watch a game today, but all of our other games, we've been more on defense, and it was a good game to watch. During the middle of the field.
One shot on goal that came across today, Sarah Byer gets in the way and blocks it before it even gets you. As a goaltender myself, I know that it's a huge sigh of relief. Yeah. What's that like for you standing in the cage?
When it came across, I kind of was just got set, got ready, and when I saw them come across and get it, I was like, okay, they got it, and just watched them play out the ball and was there for a backup in case they needed it.
Sounds great. Good luck to you the rest of the season.
Thank you.
We're going to bring in the second goal scorer of the day, Carrie Kaufman, youngest member of the team, a freshman in the starting lineup, and you get a goal on the Phila Field Hockey Game of the Week. How big is this for you and for your family? You're going to have this on probably repeat for the rest of the year.
Yeah, it means a lot, but I couldn't have done it without the team behind me.
So now going forward for you as a freshman, you're developing into your role, especially being in the starting lineup in varsity. How much do you take from your captains as leadership, being able to help change your game?
It really helps because they serve as great motivation and just the power to just keep on going on.
All right, sounds great. Good luck to you in the rest of the season.
Thank you.
Now we're going to get the victorious head coach, Lisa Bells, her 9th season at Council Rock South, and a big one for you today, 100th victory. That's got to feel amazing.
Yeah, thank you very much. I knew we were close, but I wasn't exactly sure which game. But it's very exciting that these girls get to share it with me, especially the seniors that have been here for 4 years. And all the previous players that I've had. It's a great milestone. I'm really happy about it.
It's always sometimes good to lose count on things. Today we lost count on number of corners that you had during the game. I think we were around 10 or 11 just in the first half. As a coach, though, how frustrating does that get when you run into situations where you're constantly restarting?
I think it's more frustrating for the players. We knew that they had a very good goalie. So going into the game, we talked about different corners, different corner options, what to do in that situation. We tried our options, but really it came down to a really good defensive team in there and a goalie. We had a hard time rebounding the ball. So I think overall we overcame it. We came out with the win, but I do still think we need some work on our corners.
Took you 26 minutes to finally break through what was a pretty stalwart Tennent defense. It seemed they were playing all 11 back at a time. Yeah. You finally get through on a good run from Caitlin Coco. Talk about that first goal score.
Yeah, I mean, that was outstanding. We try to push the ball forward and then support if we can, but Kate Coco is one of the fastest girls we've ever had on the team. So sometimes it's hard to catch up with her. She beat several players. I think it was, a 60-yard run all the way down, and she found the back of the cage, and that was awesome.
We had a few runs on the outside line. One finally did convert for you. It kind of put the screw in the game. Carrie Kaufman gets that goal, 21-56 in the second half.
Yeah, I mean, we had talked at halftime. I think we were struggling to score. We had some really nice passing combinations. We were doing some really nice things. We were doing a lot more back passes than I had wanted. Sometimes it's good to send the ball back and reset, but we weren't sending the ball in enough. And then when we were kind of losing possession. So it was really nice that she was able to seal that goal and get a win.
turning your looks to what may potentially be 101 next game that you have on the schedule for you guys?
Yeah, we have a tough schedule coming up. We play Council Rock North on Monday. We're actually all league next week. We play Council Rock North, Truman, and Neshaminy. Neshaminy the second time around already, so we're almost about halfway through our season, and we have some hard games coming up.
And we know how tough, obviously, that Council Rock rivalry can be, but Neshaminy also a tough one on the schedule as well, too. So good luck to you all, and
thank you.
Congratulations on 100, thanks for having us here.
I appreciate it.
That's it for us on the Payroll Services Solutions post-game show from the Sports Fanbase Network. And just one more reminder, of course, this live video stream of the Phila Field Hockey Game of the Week is brought to you by Payroll Service Solutions, based right outside of Philadelphia. Payroll Service Solutions is a huge supporter of high school sports and the Sports Fanbase Network. If you're a small to medium-sized business in need of a payroll and benefits company, contact Payroll Service Solutions. Not only will they take care of you, they will continue to support the community. For more information, contact Payroll Service Solutions at 215-624-0922 or 866-PAY-EASY. For Matthew Jolis, Kathleen Simone, Phila Field Hockey, and the Sports Fan Base Network, we'll see you next week for Game of the Week number 4 on the 2018 season. So long and have a good night.